So much, legislator. 819 is your time. Alimony or spousal support is a flexible financial tool for divorcing couples. It's designed to provide the lower income spouse with money for living expenses over and above the money provided by child support. And our friend and attorney Mark Chinn joins us this morning with more on alimony. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Glad to have you back with us. So how is alimony different from child support?
Child support is intended to support the children. Child support is payable until the child reaches 21 or becomes emancipated, and it is not deductible on income taxes nor includable in the receiver's income. Alimony, on the other hand, generally is payable for the support of the other spouse after the divorce.
And what are the different types of alimony that couples could be affected by?
There are three main types of alimony. The first is called periodic alimony. It's payable until remarriage or death. It is subject to change if there's a substantial change in circumstances, and it is deductible to the person who pays it on income taxes and includable in the income of the person who receives it. That's the main form of alimony.
Is it the most common form?
It used to be the most common form. The last 25 years has seen a trend away from permanent alimony. The next form of alimony is something called lump sum alimony. That's a fixed amount of money payable to the other spouse. It is payable whether or not the person remarries or dies. It is not subject to change, even if there's a change in circumstances, and it is usually not deductible to the payer or includable in the income of the receiver. The final form of basic alimony is something we call rehabilitative alimony. That was designed by the Mississippi Supreme Court about 25 or 30 years ago, and it was designed to take into account the changing circumstances of America, the flood of women into the workforce, and the belief that women could rehabilitate from being primary child caregivers and to get into the workforce. And so it was designed to give the woman time to increase her skills and get back into the workforce. This is the more typical type of alimony that we see today. Alimony payable for a time or until remarriage or death. And so this alimony is most often deductible to the payer and includable in the income of the receiver, but it only goes for a certain amount of time.
Now, how do you determine as a lawyer and counsel for your client which three to take?
We look at a lot of different factors. If you have a really long marriage and the non-wage earning spouse has not worked in a very long time and does not have a significant wage earning capacity either due to lack of education or work experience, then they're more likely to get something called periodic alimony, in other words, until remarriage or death. If you have someone who's younger, educated, perhaps can get themselves back into the workplace sooner, they're more likely to get rehabilitative alimony. Shorter marriages, you're generally looking at the rehabilitative alimony. Another factor that can come into play is if there is a substantial division of assets. If a person receives a lot of assets in the division of the marital estate, then that affects the amount of alimony they might get because the assets they get might generate income for them to live off of.
Now, how is the specific payment, is that processed, and how do I know how much that person is going to get or how much I'm going to get from it?
There's no clear formula. You might remember last month we talked about child support, and it's 14% for one child and 20% for two children and 22% for three children. But for alimony, it's up in the air. We have no idea what it's going to be. The judge has to take into consideration the age, health, earning capacity of each person, whether or not a person is going to be responsible for taking care of children, what kind of assets they have available to them, what kind of non-marital assets they might have available to them to support themselves. So there's no truth.
So it's truly just up in the air, and it's all to the judge?
It's very much up in the air, and all we can do is look at different cases that have been decided by the Mississippi Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals take a look at some of the factual situations that we see being decided by them, and then try to figure out how the particular case we have fits within those scenarios, and then make our best guess.
Well, if you want some more help from Mark, you can always go to Mark Chinn and Associates, and you can tell folks where they can find you.
We're at 4316 Old Canton Road here in Jackson. We'd like to direct you to our website at chinandassociates.com, and you can find out all about us.
All right, and your number, 601, put that number right back up for me, 601-366-4410. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Always great to be here.
Great to be with you. You'll be back next month, right?
I will.
You'll be back? Okay. We love when you come.